Thank you for joining today's session. We will be getting started shortly. We do have a lot of folks signed up for today's session, and we want to give everyone a moment to log on and get connected so that we can dive into today's session. I do want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Jasmine Garrett here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session is an informational overview on the CSIT SBIR and STTR Direct Financial Assistance Program. A quick housekeeping note, we do suspect that many questions will be answered in today's presentation. However, you are able to write in questions at any point during the presentation using Zoom's Q&A feature. It is one of your Zoom command options and will allow us to make sure we're able to get back to you and let others see these questions and answers as well. Today's session is being recorded and will be posted on our NJEDA and YouTube pages. The slides and other resources will also be available in the next few days. Now, to get us started with the presentation, I will shift things over to NJEDA's Program Officer of CSIT, Frances Kill. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We do have a full set of slides to present to you. If you take a look at the agenda, our Executive Director, Judith Sheff, is going to give a brief introduction and talk a little bit about some of the rumblings regarding the reauthorization and issues with the federal SBIR program. I will do an overview of our CSIT SBIR, STTR program, and then Jackie will talk about the review process and the compliance requirements. And then we also have some special guests today. We have additional resources that are helpful for the SBIR applicants. We have Ian McLaughlin from BioNJ. We have Kelly Brosnia from the New Jersey Small Business Development Center. And we have Tom Richardson from the Institute for Life Science and Entrepreneurship. And they will each take 3 to 5 minutes to sort of give you an overview of what they can actually help you with during your application process and after. And then we'll have, as Jasmine stated, we'll have at the end, we'll address any questions that are in the chat or in the Q&A and a brief wrap up. Next slide. Judith, do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Frances. And I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar to learn about how CSIT supports applicants who have received federal SBIR or STTR grants, as well as the support available for companies who are considering going after federal SBIR or STTR grants. The federal program generally gives out over $4 billion a year, so that's billion with a B, to small businesses to work on research and development activity. Frances gave a little bit of a hint. At the moment, the federal program is currently on pause. The legislation authorizing the program had ended in the end of September of last year, and it has not yet been reauthorized. It's gotten caught up in some of the other machinations around federal budgeting activity. And I'm sure Ian, who's been involved in some work with other organizations across the country in the life sciences space, will have some information about that. But regardless, the federal SBIR STTR program is a great opportunity for companies to get additional non-dilutive funding to help support their businesses. And this particular program from CSIT, where we help support companies, was actually one of the first grant programs that CSIT implemented when the commission was reestablished in 2020. The SBIR and STTR programs are so beneficial for companies because, one, they don't take any equity in your business. Two, it is a very rigorous peer-reviewed process, so that if your company does have a federal grant, when you go out to raise additional funding, you can really use that as a almost good housekeeping seal of approval when you're talking to investors to say, hey, I've gone through federal review process and I've gotten these grants. The program, as I said, is one that has been modeled against some other programs around the country, but we're always, willing and interested to hear about comments that people who have gotten grants would like to tell us how we can improve the program. In addition, we also realize that it can be a bit of a confusing program. The federal agencies who participate in the program are 11 different agencies, and unlike a common app when your children might be applying for college, each agency has some of their own specific requirements, so it can be particularly confusing, particularly for first-time applicants. To help applicants with that process, we have partnered with two organizations. The main organization, the Small Business Development Centers, the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers, and Kelly Brosnaw will talk a little bit later about some of the support and technical assistance that they provide for companies who are providing and going after SBIR, STTR grants, as well as the other set of resources that the SBDC provides to companies. They have a wealth of resources for early stage companies. And then we're recently going to be bringing on the Institute for Life Sciences Entrepreneurship, and Tom Richardson will talk a little bit about some of the specific support and assistance that they can provide, really targeting companies who are in the life sciences space and some of those needs. So again, we are really excited to have you join us and learn about the program. As I said, it's been our oldest program and really one of the most successful programs that they've had. Frances, over to you.
Thank you so much, Judith. Next slide, Jackie. So let's get right into an overview of the CSIT program. So for CSIT, we're looking to boost New Jersey companies' success in securing federal SBIR and STTR funding. We're also looking to ease the financial burden for phase 1 and phase 2 awardees, and support the growth during the transition from phase 1 and phase 2. So I'll get into it a little bit in a minute, but we do have two avenues where we support for phase 1 and phase 2. And we're basically looking to increase the number of awardees from New Jersey. So every state, has applicants that apply to the federal programs. And as Judith mentioned, it's a wealth of funding. It's $4 billion. It's 11 different federal agencies that participate in the SBIR, the federal SBIR program. So anything from agriculture to defense to life sciences, there's all kinds of avenues for supporting the R&D that you're doing. And so we're trying to improve the number of applicants that are gaining awards from New Jersey. And we have about $1 million currently available for funding. As I said, it's two different buckets. It's direct funding, which is $25,000 each, and that is for a participant or an applicant that has an active phase 1 federal award for phase 1. And then we also have $50K funding for about 10 awards for those companies that have completed a phase 1, have applied for a phase 2, but have not received that award yet. And so the bridge funding is really to help the company with their staying afloat, maybe with their operating costs, or maybe if they have reports or data that they need to finalize from their phase 1 that's not quite complete yet. But it's really to help bridge that process between the phase 1 and phase 2 applications. So that's kind of the focus of the $50K. And there's no fees and there's no cost share to receive our grant. And so we have had two recent updates. We have updated the phase 1 so that you have to have an active federal phase 1 award in order to apply for our direct funding. And also we are requiring that there on the application or on the award that you receive from the federal government, it must show a New Jersey-based primary performance location. So if for some reason you started your application and your company was located in Massachusetts, but then you changed and relocated during the course of the project to New Jersey, you would need to get some type of validation or confirmation from your federal agency indicating that, yes, the company is doing or performed the project at a New Jersey location. So, we've had some instances where companies have submitted awards and the award location was not in New Jersey, we will not be able to accept those as applicants anymore unless you have verification from your federal agency letting us know that, yes, the award or the work did take place, the performance location was in New Jersey. Next slide. So some of the basic eligibility criteria, and this goes for across all of our CSIT programs and specifically for the SBIR Phase 1 or direct funding and bridge funding. So you must be a New Jersey-based business in good standing. You must have a valid New Jersey tax clearance certificate listing CSIT. When you go to apply for your tax clearance certificate or to get a copy of an existing certificate, there's a drop-down menu that allows you to select the agency. And under that agency tab, you need to select the Commission on Science, Innovation, and Technology. If you don't have CSIT listed as the agency, we will ask you to update that information. If there's no further correspondence from you, your application will not be processed if it lists a different organization. And then we also do compliance checks with NJ Department of Labor and Department of Environmental Protection just to see if there's any other outstanding issues that maybe the company may have been involved in. You also have to have at least one full-time worker working 35 hours per week. And at least 50% of all the hours worked by all of your employees must take place in New Jersey. And the federal SBIR, STTR award performance location must be in New Jersey. So that's for both the Phase 1, the direct funding, which is equivalent to the federal Phase 1, and the bridge funding, which is equivalent to the federal Phase 2. Next slide. So additional funding for additional eligibilities for the direct funding is you have to have an active federal SBIR, STTR, Phase 1, Fast Track, or Direct Phase 2 award at the time of the CSIT application. And you cannot have received more than 5 federal SBIR awards, Phase 1, Fast Track, or Direct to Phase 2 over the company's lifetime. So we're really still trying to focus on emerging companies, companies that are new to the technology ecosystem in New Jersey, and really helping those small companies that have R&D that's either in the Phase 1 or Phase 2 area for SBIR get awards and get into the system. Next slide. Here you'll see additional eligibility requirements for the bridge funding. You must have a prior federal SBIR Phase 1 award within 2 years. So this is where we do a 2-year look back for Phase 2. So if you've had a Phase 1 award or completed a Phase 1 award within the prior 2 years of your application, then you are eligible to apply for the bridge funding. You must have also submitted a current Phase 2 SBIR or STTR application, but not yet received the federal award. And you cannot have received more than 5 federal SBIR or STTR Phase 1, Fast Track, or Direct to Phase 2, and no more than 4 Phase 2 awards over the company's lifetime. Next slide. So Jackie will talk a little bit about the application and the review process, and also talk a little bit about the compliance.
Thank you, Francis, and good morning, everyone. So going over the application and review process, the first step is to start the application from our website, which is njcsit.gov. And then in the application, it will confirm your eligibility, and it will ask you questions such as, have you received, more than 5 SBIR Phase 1 awards? Where are you located? What is, the award, the name of the award or the project? So it's going to be a lot of just basic information. Once an application is submitted, we do get notified on our CSIT SBIR inbox, and then we'll start reviewing the application. If information is missing, let's say you did not submit a tax clearance certificate or you did not submit your employee information, you will receive a resubmission letter from us. And typically you have 10 business days to submit that missing document or 30 business days to resubmit the tax clearance certificate. And once all your documents are complete and your application is complete, then NJEDA begins to do the review, which, as Francis mentioned, we also do the review with our sister agencies of Department of Labor and Environmental Protection. And if no issues are found, then your application is approved. Once the application is approved, we do notify you, we send you an approval letter saying, congratulations, you have been approved for the direct funding grant or the bridge funding grant. And 2 weeks after that, usually the closing team sends you a grant agreement to be executed. So in that grant agreement, you will sign it. And then once our executive director, Judith, signs it, it is considered executed. And also at that time, you will find a requisition form in there where you will put in your mailing address, all your information, and you will receive your payment as well, either the 25K or the 50K. And usually after the grant is executed and you fill out the requisition form, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the check to arrive. And as Francis mentioned, this money is meant to support, continue support operations for the company. Let's say if you have the data sets that you need to keep using, so you can use the money for that. In terms of the application documents, so starting with our direct funding grant of 25K. So these are the list. This is the list here. So first of all, you need to have the copy of the active federal phase 1, fast track of direct phase 2 award letter or the contract. We also need the copy of the proposal that you submitted. And then we also need employee information as applicable for the company. So let's say you have 5 paid employees, then you can submit a 1099, a W-2, shareholder agreement, or whatever is applicable. We also need to see the summary of the most recent internal payroll. It needs to show all the employees' names and the number of hours they worked per week. And then we also need the tax return certificate listing CSIT as agency. We'll also have a completed CSIT legal debarment questionnaire, and that is found within the application question, so it's not a separate file. And then we'll also need a signed CSIT certification, and then that is also found in the application. Once you finish the application, there's a link to the template where you download the certification, you sign it, and then you upload it with the rest of the documents. For the bridge documents, they're pretty much very similar. The only differences I would say is on bullet points A, B, and C. So we will need the copy of your federal phase 1 award contract, and it has to be dated no earlier than 2 years prior to the submission of your application. So let's say you're submitting an application today in 2026, so it has to be dated no earlier than 2 years prior to that. So that will be 2024. And we also need the copy of your phase 1 final report and just a confirmation of the agency accepting that report. It can be a screenshot, it can be an email that you receive from them. And then for bullet point C, we just need proof that you have submitted your phase 2 application. So that is a copy of the proposal, and then once again, either electronic or written notification from the agency confirming that they have received your proposal. And then the other information or the requirements are still the same. So we need the employee verification documents, 1099s, W-2s. We also need the summary of the payroll, the tax return certificate, the CSIT legal debarment questionnaire, and the signed CSIT certification. So once you submit all these documents, your application is considered complete. And this is an example of what the disbursement, the requisition form looks like in the grant agreement. So like I said, it will show your company name, the amount, either the 25K or 50K. And then at the bottom, mailing address, please make sure you fill that out. That's where the check is going to be mailed to. And we just ask that an authorized officer of the company signs the grant agreement and the requisition form. In terms of compliance requirements, so once you have executed the grant agreement for a period of 3 years from that day, you have to show that employees, founders, and contractors are conducting at least 50% of the work in New Jersey. And you also have to submit economic impact data, and that is done through an MS Forms questionnaire. And it asks questions such as how many jobs have you created in the last year? How is your project benefiting, in what areas like health, infrastructure? So we collect all this data to show the impact of our grant program. So it's very important that you please do so. And then we'll also ask you to submit an updated tax clearance certificate showing CSIT as an agency. And sometimes, we might ask you to participate in one of our events. We also have all these documents are going to be submitted to our compliance portal, and I'll show a few examples of that next. But as I mentioned before, the documents for you to submit are the annual report, which is the economic impact report, the employee log, which is going to show how many employees are working in Jersey. I'm just making sure you're meeting that 50% requirement, the employee documentation. So just to show that, they're still employed by you. That once again, that can be a shareholders agreement, offer letters, W-2s, and the updated tax clearance certificate. So to access the NJEDA portal, so once you sign your grant agreement, we automatically create a record per se using your primary contact email address. So once it's, your compliance time comes around, you will start receiving notifications to your email saying, hey, these documents are due. Please submit them via this link. And then that link is going to take you to this portal right here. And basically, the first time you log into the portal, you're going to have to create an account. I'm going to put the same email address that is linked to that grant. So let's say you use this email, but that person is no longer, working here. Then you have to let us know so we can update the email address. And then once you create an account and you log in, it's going to show you all the documents that you have to submit and by what day. And if you have multiple grants with CSIT, it would also show you the other grants associated to that email. So you can also submit those documents too. And it's a very intuitive system. Once you hit the document request, it will show you the link for the template as well. So you can click on the template, download it, fill it in, and then just hit submit the documents. And then once you have submitted all the documents, just let us know. We'll review it and let you know if it's all good. And that is it on my end in terms of compliance. I'm going to pass it to, we do have some speakers today for additional resources. So I'm going to pass it to Ian McLaughlin first, who's going to talk to us a little bit on his experience working with the SBIR STTR program. So Ian?
Before we go into that, I just want to also let everyone know that the portal for accepting applications is currently suspended while we are updating some of the questions in the application due to some of the administrative changes that we made specifically regarding the requirements for phase 1 to have an active award and some of the other wordings for some of our other documents. So the portal is not available currently. We do expect it to reopen either Friday or early next week.
Okay, thank you.
So I can jump in with a quick update on the status of SBIR, and I hope you'll excuse the lobby music. I'm here at the inn at Rutgers, appropriately. And I've seen that Rutgers actually has been awarded dozens of SBIR grants. So this is an important program to our ecosystem. I'm Ian McLaughlin, SVP of Government Affairs at BioNJ. We represent small biotech to largest biopharma. And our board chair has been awarded SBIR grants. So in fact, next week, I will be going to DC with a coalition of our partner organizations from across the country to meet with congressional offices from states with members of Congress who are on committees of jurisdiction. The status right now is that it's really coming down to basically 2 to 3 federal offices in Congress. And it's really mostly one specific senator, Senator Jenny Ernst from Iowa. She is not running for re-election, but she has expressed a serious intent to reform the program due to concerns regarding IP protections and international collaborators. This sort of general concern extends beyond just SBIR, but SBIR has to be reauthorized. Typically has been every 5 years. Most recently, it's been a little bit shorter time course. But as somebody mentioned in the question section, it has expired. It expired last year. And just due to some of these outstanding concerns that Senator Ernst has, we haven't been able to get it reauthorized. That said, the latest scuttlebutt is that negotiations between Senator Ernst and then Senator Markey, who is one of the sort of major proponents of the program, have actually made some progress last week. And so my understanding is that we are pretty reasonably close to getting this to happen. And that is the motivation for the trip that we will be taking next week to try and move the needle and express that, the importance of this program to not just our specific states, but the ecosystem more broadly. All that said, if you are a company, a researcher who is either has been a recipient of SBIR or you are a hopeful recipient of SBIR, and you have a story that you could tell, a short story, I would appreciate it. I've collected a few of these stories via venues like this, but if you are whatever you're researching, just what you're researching and how SBIR funding would help you get the ball past the finish line or into the end zone, I would appreciate it. So I will put my email in the chat. And any kind of stories that you might have would be much appreciated. But that's the status. We're hoping to get it reauthorized or included in appropriations bills that need to pass by the end of this month, January 30th. My understanding is that that is a realistic goal. If it is not January 30th, then the goal will be the appropriations cycle in September. But we are optimistic that it will get reauthorized. It's just a matter of when. So I will stop there. Happy to answer any other questions that people might have. But otherwise, back to you.
Can I make one other comment? In addition to letting Ian know about the stories, I am always telling companies, be sure you let our federal legislators know. Let Senator Kim know. Let Senator Booker know. Let your congressional congressperson know how important the SBIR program has been to you if you've received awards, or how important you believe it's going to be for you going forward. And even if you're not talking to the congressperson directly and you end up talking to one of their staffers, they keep track of that information. So it's important that they hear from you that this program is something that is really very important.
Thank you, Judith. I'll pass it over to Kelly.
I have my hand up for for something. I just
go ahead,
wanted
Tom.
to build on something Ian started. It was a great overview, Ian. Thank you. I just want to make clear for those who are in the process of writing SBIRs right now, the next deadline, assuming everything goes well, would be April 5th. And from talking with several program officers at the federal level for the NSF and NIH, the basic thinking is if reauthorization happened within 1 month of the April 5th deadline, then they'll be able to redo everything and make sure the program is ready to accept applications in April. So let's assume all of this goes well and everything gets reauthorized. As long as it's done in early March, the April 5th deadline should happen. So the take-home message is keep writing. Just be prepared for when the federal government sorts it all out, and let Ian and the team do their thing.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. All right, I'll pass it to Kelly now.
Great, thank you. So welcome everybody. And for those of you, I want to just talk a little bit about the SBDC, what we do and how it relates and how it's aligned with this presentation and helping individuals and businesses with their SBIR, STTR. So the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers is a public-private partnership. We get federal funds from SBA, we get state funds for matching, which we're fortunate and blessed to be partners with CSIT, so it comes through them. And we also get funding throughout the state through the Business Action Center, as well as for other programs that we have. Next slide. So we are a statewide program. So we have centers, we have 9 centers around the state. We cover every single county, and we are New Jersey based. So we were very, very specific to New Jersey. Now, if you're outside of New Jersey, for those that are on this call, or on this presentation. Don't fear, there's other SBDCs in other states as well, and I'm more than happy to make that connection and referral over to you. But we provide no-cost consulting and no-cost, low-cost training programs for anybody who wants to start or grow a business. And why this is important, and if you can see, we have the map, and don't shoot the messenger of North, Central, and Southern Jersey. We follow the governor's guidelines on the designations there. And it just puts in perspective how New Jersey, although a very small state, is highly, highly dense, and there's a very, very large population. So it's important for us to make sure that we are covering the entire state. Next slide. So here are all of our locations. So if anybody needs assistance with your business, and I'm going to talk specifically about our tech program and what we do in just a second, but if you need assistance on your business to ramp up, there are criteria to be eligible for SBIR and STTR. We want to make sure that we're setting you up for success. So come to us. Let us work with your business. Let us help you along your pathway to be able to eligible if you have not done an SBIR. And even if you have done an SBIR, you need assistance, you need marketing help, you need, let's just say that you get an award. Maybe you need help with your financials and budgets and projections and things like that, because you have to manage that as well. You need to hire people. You need to make sure that you have policies in place, things like that. We have experts that can assist with all of that. And here are our locations, just so that you're knowledgeable of where we're located. However, you can go to our main website. I'll talk to you about that in a second. So next slide. So again, just going back to our services, all that we do, SBDC provides anything from crib to casket and beyond. How's that? And I say casket in the sense that if you're looking to transition out, you're looking to sell your business, you're looking to, if you're a serial entrepreneur, that you start a business, grow a business, sell a business, we can help with every stage of that business, to include looking at some other opportunities that could be out there for you. Make sure you're certified. If you're a woman-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned business, we can help with those certifications. International, if you're looking to export and to import, we can help you with that. And also through your partnerships and collaborations and connections that you might need within the state. Next slide. So our tech program. So we have a group of experts with the SBDC, and we have applied and we are awarded what's called the FAST grant. The FAST grant is our technology program that we are running to help businesses with SBIR and STTR. We can even help with zero phase on that. If you have never written SBIR proposal before, or you've applied before, we can assist you in that sense as well. But really, we focus on phase 1 and phase 2, spin-offs, things like that we will work with. So some of what we do, and again, as I mentioned, we have a group of experts that can assist you. These individuals have a proven track record of application and success with mentorship to help businesses with that application process. If you have applied and you've got denied, we can help you with why did you get the denial? What was the reasons behind it? How can we set you up for success next time? Now, as Tom mentioned and Ian mentioned also, everything is on, and I think Francis too, things are on hold right now. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be still working towards your applications just in case, because once it opens up, it could be fast and furious with the deadlines that pop up. So we want to make sure we're setting you up for success, regardless of what agency that you're looking to apply. And also there are opportunities that you may be thinking, oh, I have a service or a product that I think the DoD might want. Well, guess what? Maybe Department of Energy might want it. Maybe Health and Human Sciences might want it. You just don't know who might want your service or product or technologies. So let us work with you and help you migrate through some of that, that sort of grayish water that we can help you sort of see some clarity on what might be a really good opportunity. We can help you with your pitch deck. We can help you with, and there's also opportunities for you to be able to pitch and be eligible outside of the product that through SBIR or STTR. So again, we go back to it's no cost consulting. We have live webinars. We have on-demand webinars. And we also have individuals pre-submission and panel reviews that we can work with you on. Now, one thing I want to make sure that, and here we have proposal writing and assistance guidance. We don't write your proposal for you. We help edit it. We help mentor you with it. We provide guidance to you. We are not going to write your proposal for you. So I want to make sure that there's just some clarity that's on that. But the reality is that if you've never done it before, we can guide you through that process. We want to help you because this could be a really great opportunity for you. If you have done it, you've been turned down, let us work with you on that. And maybe you've been awarded and you've been successful and you're thinking about other opportunities. So we have a lot of talent, as I mentioned, that have come in. People that are reviewers on some of these government agencies have come on board with us to provide this mentorship and guidance for you. So I like to just sort of talk a little bit about how the SBDC is a hub and spoke model. Come to us, let us holistically evaluate your business, and then we can get you to the right resource seamlessly. Sometimes one of the bigger problems is that people, I'll go to this website or you got to go to this agency, and you go and there's no human that answers the phone. You can never make those connections. Come to us and we will give you a name, we'll give you an email, and we'll give you a handoff directly to that agency. We don't claim to be the be-all end-all, nor do we want to be the be-all end-all. But what we can do is we can be that hub and spoke, that resource for you to get to that right resource. So please utilize us. Well, I'm also going to put in or have Francis or somebody put into the chat a link. We do have an eligibility survey. We want to make sure that you have the ability to fill that out. There's just a few questions that are on there just so that we understand before you come to us exactly where you need to go and what talent we can align you with beginning. And there's some easy, where's your company registered? Do you have IP? What is your legal status that you have? Basically, have you applied for SBI before and what federal agencies? And again, just a bunch of survey. It won't take you very long to fill out, but it will help us quite a bit to be able to get you to the right talent immediately so that you can get assistance. So I want to thank everybody for letting me just talk about the resources. It is a great resource. If you want to utilize it, there's a QR code that you can scan. You could also go to our website, njsbdc.com, and just request consulting, and then we can help you along your pathway. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Right, I'm going to go back. Oop, too far back. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. And I'm going to pass it off to Tom.
Great. Thank you. Nice presentation, Kelly. My name is Tom Richardson. I'm the president of the Institute for Life Science Entrepreneurship. We call ourselves ILSI or ILSA, so you'll hear that. But we are an independent nonprofit founded by Kane University, and we're located on Kane campus in Union. So we're a small operation. We do R&D. Our original R&D. We also provide services to small companies, and we perform business services like acceleration. We can help companies with all manner of getting started, from ideation to corporate documents, all the way through funding and partnering and raising capital. We have on our site, we've got an incubator. We have laboratories and offices that are available for entrepreneurs to do work or to have an address. We also run a clinical diagnostic lab, which is important for some of the companies that are doing human sample testing. And most recently, we started an entrepreneur training program, which is a venture studio, hands-on, mentor-led venture studio on building companies and making them fundable. The key thing for this is actually leadership development and executive coaching. So we have this full suite of R&D services, business acceleration, physical space, and hands-on training that we bring to bear for startups. And over the past 6 years now, we've helped companies raise over $53 million in SBIRs, R21s, and a variety of other grants across NIH, NSF, DoD, you name it, a good number of the agencies and many of the individual institutes within NIH. And going forward, we'll be working with the CSIT and alongside Kelly's organization to support additional SBIR filings. So our expertise, we're scientists who've worked in industry, and some of us have academic credentials as well. So we can help with specifics on research, developing the research plan, developing all the GNA and budgeting, the commercial plan, things that will need to go into these filings, and also resubmissions as needed when one has gone through how best to reposition the technologies and the story. So through this process, we can serve as PIs, co-PIs, sub-awardees. There's a lot of different ways we can help to help build your team, and there's no one way to do any one of these things. So we have a lot of internal expertise. We also have a very large network. And you can see on our website from our entrepreneur training program, we've got a lot of expertise within the industry here in New Jersey and beyond. So we're about to announce a collaboration with the CSIT soon to help support this. Our focus is on the life sciences. So if you're in that space, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to see if and how we can help you and help network with Kelly, the CSIT, find resources through BioNJ and the like. And we're here to help. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right. So we're going to do a wrap up and then we'll have some time for questions.
Mhm. Yeah, so I basically just want to reemphasize the administrative changes that we've made for the program this year. The fact that in order to apply for CSIT direct funding, you have to have an active or current federal phase 1 award. And also that we're currently doing the required updates to the application questions and things like that. So the portal is currently not open, but we expect it to open tomorrow, certainly by the end of the week or by Monday. We're in the works with IT in terms of updating the application.
Okay.
And
All right.
I guess maybe one thing I would also like to say is when you submit your information into the portal, Jackie and Francis talked about a review of information that we do. And let's say you're missing something. Let's say you didn't provide documentation on all of your employees, or the tax clearance has listed the wrong agency. We will send you a missing document email highlighting what information needs to be corrected and giving you a chance to correct your application so we can move forward
Yes.
with it. Now this is different than the federal government. The federal government really doesn't give you a chance to correct mistakes, which is why it's so important that you work with teams like Kelly's team or Tom or others. But we understand that you're small businesses and we want to give you a chance to correct any potential, mistakes you might have made initially in your application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
I think we have answered most of the questions that we saw come through the Q&A. Do we have any more open questions?
I don't see any open questions currently.
Okay. Are there any other questions that folks would like to address at this time that have not been sort of reviewed in the chat?
If you want to reemphasize some of the questions that were answered privately, just talk about them in case someone else might be curious.
I do have a hand up.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just want to say thank you so much for the informative webinar and all the information. I had one quick question about this recent USDA NIFA grant that had several seed grants.
And Human, what agency was that with?
That's USDA, if I can. It's the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
So if it's a USDA SBIR grant, then that would be eligible for the either 25K or 50K opportunity. And while we're talking about that, you're reminding me of something else. Sometimes when companies are submitting your federal applications, whether it's to SBIR or STTR or potentially other opportunities, you would sometimes like a letter of support to go with your application. And we'll put in a slide when we send out the slide deck, but CSIT does have a place on our website for companies to request a letter of support to go with your application. Frequently, our letters of support are not necessarily going to be committing dollars, but we might indicate that, we believe that the technology that you're working on is important for New Jersey and how it aligns with the state strategies. If you've received other funding from us in the past, we might include some of that in a support letter as well. But, again, we know we want to make our proposals to the federal government as strong as possible. If that's something that's of interest to you, we do have a link on our website to get those letters of support. The turnaround time is generally about 2 weeks because we have to review any letter that goes out with our legal and our ethics team. So it generally can't be that you give me a letter and ask for it back in 2 hours, although I think we did do something really quick one time for someone who had a really challenging situation. But do please try to, give us some time if that's something that you think could be beneficial for your applications.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So I can go through some of the questions that we've already answered. So someone asked about the press release that the SBIR program was ending. Ian provided a response that the negotiations for reauthorization are ongoing. We're hoping to have it in the appropriation bills by the end of this month. And if not, then the next reauthorization cycle, and that he elaborated on that a little bit more in his presentation. And if you have any additional questions regarding that, you can reach out to Ian. We have another question is if the program is not reauthorized, will the CSIT have a mechanism to support companies that are in the middle of an SBIR, completed year 1, but waiting for years 2 and 3? Judith has responded, unfortunately, we do not have other funding to support companies that are waiting for follow-on year funding for an awarded grant. We have a question that says, how long does it typically take to complete the application, submit the documents? The time to submit the application is dependent on the applicant. If you have all the required documents at the time that you're ready to access the portal, it should take maybe an hour or so to complete the application. And then the review process and receipt of the grant and check can take up to 6 weeks. There's another question. We have submitted a phase 2 grant, which is pending with NIH. We received a phase 1 award from NIH and are working on a no-cost extension. Can we apply for bridge funding too if our phase 1 has not officially ended? If you have all the required documents for the bridge funding grant, then you may submit an application. And one of the required documents is the final phase 1, acceptance of the final phase 1 report. On the CSIT website, under direct funding grant, it says be a recipient of a federal phase 1 fast track or phase 2 grant or contract within the last 2 years prior to the issuance of this funding availability. So I guess this has changed and now it requires an active phase one. So if we completed one last summer, are we eligible? You must have an active phase one, direct to phase two, or fast track award to apply for the CSIT direct funding. However, if you completed that phase one, 2 years ago and you've applied for phase two, you are certainly would be eligible to submit an application for the bridge funding. Is it correct that for a given SBIR award, a company may receive either a CSIT phase one supplement or a bridge grant, but not both? Is the program available for more than one SBIR award? You may apply for both awards if you have two different phase one awards. If you have an active federal phase one award, you may apply for the CSIT direct funding. You may also apply for CSIT bridge funding if you received and completed a different federal phase one award in the last 2 years and have applied for a federal phase two award and have not received that phase two award. Submitted SBIR, STTR applications may contain proprietary information, how to avoid its exposure when submitted through the portal. CSIT application information is secured in our CRM database and is not accessible by the public. However, when you submit your reports on the results of your project or the status of your project, you should not include any proprietary information because that information does get collated and it is reported in our annual report. So it's not specific to your company, but information that you provide does go into our annual report. If we have an active phase one, then we would not be able to submit a phase one final report. How can we comply for bridge funding if we don't have a final report from the phase one? You do not have to have an active federal phase one award to apply for our bridge funding. Your federal phase one should be completed and you should have submitted the phase one final report for acceptance in order to apply for the bridge funding. So for the bridge funding, we are still doing the 2-year look back for your phase one award. This one says, thank you, Ian. May I ask whether you have any additional insight on the specific objections raised by Senator Ernst, e.g. a newspaper editorial article or perhaps a situation? Ian has replied, there are a handful, but the primary concerns that have been shared with us is associated with national security. There is a concern that SBIR funds are being routed to companies that have relationships with adversarial governments. We are working on trying to find a way to resolve that without diminishing the program. Is there any information about pending SBIR applications? We submitted an AFWRX open topic, which has been awarded in December, but everything shut down. I don't know if, I guess that's similar to what Ian has said about, continuing to work on the reauthorization of the program. I don't think there's any additional information.
Yeah, so AFWorks is one of the, I think, Department of Defense. I think that's the Air Force agency that someone has applied for.
Yeah, and then Tom also said that you should contact your program officer. The review should have started up again. I think the DoD ones may have been approved. I think they may have started up again. Then Tom also shared the link to ILSI.
Yep, and we do have some new questions.
Okay.
The questions, so the first few ones are related to SBDC. So they want to know if SBDC helps with the federal grants, and are all offices equally resourceful? For example, is the one in Burlington, how is it compared to the one in Newark per se?
So we have a team of experts. They are statewide consultants. That's why you have to register for consulting to come through our regardless of getting any assistance. So please make sure if you're not already registered as a client or request consulting that you do so. Once you do so, it will automatically populate to whatever the closest center is to your zip code that you put in there for your business. that doesn't mean that's where you're going to stay. So once you fill out also the eligibility survey, we will route that. If you are ready for our tech consultants, we will automatically get you to one of those tech consultants. You might not be ready yet, depending on what stage you are or where you're at. So each of our centers has experts that can help businesses, but we have a statewide tech team specifically to help with the FAST awards in the application process. So we will get you to those highly skilled consultants as soon as we have your data and your information into our system. I hope that answered the question.
Kelly, a follow-up to that. Does the SBDC support help with AFWRX applications?
Is this part of the I'm not.
Yeah. So Kelly, AFWorks, the Department of Defense,
Okay.
has some unique programs. That's why I was saying, we've got 11 different federal agencies. Some are grants, some are contracts. AFWorks is some of the Air Force.
Yes.
How
So
they're
the short answer is yes. We will help. If it's a government agency that is looking to do SBIR, we can definitely work with that. If you are looking to do business with, and it's not about an SBIR, TTR, we have other experts that can assist with that too. So that's the beauty about coming to the SBDC. We can get you to the right resource.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So next question is, if a company does not currently have a phase 1 SBIR funding, what are their options?
So options for as far as CSIT is concerned is we currently are also, well, once the portal opens, we are accepting applications for the Catalyst voucher program and the Sea Grant voucher program. So those are two options that are available through CSIT.
Okay. Okay, so what about the NJEDA initiative? Does CSIT work with them, and how can small businesses work with them?
okay.
So yeah, go ahead, Judith.
Okay, so the EDA has established a number of strategic innovation centers around the state. One of them, which is housed in Princeton, is the New Jersey AI Hub, and we can put in the chat a link for how you can sign up for information about programming that goes on at the AI Hub. I believe they recently sent out information about companies who are in that AI space who might want to join their cohort program. So kind of similar to the cohort activity that Tom talked about at ILSI for life sciences companies. The AI Hub is accepting applicants for companies who are really in the AI space to participate in a cohort-based program. That cohort-based program is being managed by Plug and Play. So again, there's some deadlines associated with those activities. Separate from the AI Hub, and not to be totally confusing to people, there is also a New Jersey AI Challenge that both companies as well as teams can apply for. And so if you're interested in applying for the AI Challenge, it's like a contest, hackathon type activity where you can apply for potentially funding to help move your innovations forward. I'd also like to tell people that you should also go onto the federal SBA. The Small Business Administration manages the SBIR programs overall. There is a wealth of information both on the general SBA website about the SBIR program, and then you can go specifically to the different federal agencies, and they'll have information. Sometimes, I know particularly in the life sciences area, NIH will have posted some sample applications of companies who've received awards in the past, so that doing a little bit of research, Google or Chat GPT can be your friend in terms of finding out information. I do, however, want to say that I would not necessarily use ChatGPT to write your application. That is some of the concern, that the federal government has, is that people are going to use some of these artificial intelligence engines and then start submitting, hundreds of applications on a particular review cycle. And so that is not something that you want to do. You really need to use your intellectual property, your knowledge about what you're doing when you're filling out and creating your grant application. As both Kelly and Tom mentioned, they can help you with reviewing your application, as long as you give it to them sufficient time before your application is due. Do not go to anybody, 30 minutes or a day before a deadline and say, hey, can you review this? It's due tomorrow. That is not going to be a workable solution for you. Additionally, with not only our grant applications, but federal grant applications, please read the directions, read what they're looking for, and really try to be responsive to what they're looking for. That's going to really make the most chance of success for you. And I'll get off my soapbox at the moment.
Can I just add one thing, Judith?
Yes, please, Kelly.
And for everybody that's on here, and I don't know how many people are still remaining, it looks like there's about 50 people that are still on the webinar. There are a lot of resources that are out there and no cost resources. I'm not saying that we're the be all end all, but give us a shot versus paying somebody to help you do it. And I'm not trying to take business away from people that charge to do this, but we're set up for a reason to be here to support you. And so give it a shot. You have nothing to lose by utilizing some of these resources other than, reaching out. So I just want to make sure that there are a lot of resources out there. And if it's not SBDC, if it's not Tom's group, it's not CSIT, we might know of others too that are available that you can access. And just know that there's support and help out there. You're not alone in all of this. And I see a little bit of frustration. I have to wait 2 years or 3 years before I'm eligible and all of that. There are things that you can do to get yourself ramped up. And that's what we want to do. We want to help you and support you along that way. Now I'm off my soapbox.
Okay.
I have another question. So can you clarify, what is the 2-year prior look back on the phase 1? Like when can someone apply for our phase 1 SBIR direct funding grant?
So for direct funding, you have to have an active federal phase 1 grant, current phase 1 from the federal government in order to apply for our direct funding. But if you have so the 2-year look back is for phase 2 federal applicants. If you have completed a phase 1 within the last 2 years and have applied for a phase 2 federal grant, then you're eligible to apply for our bridge funding, which is $50K. But in order to apply for the direct funding, you do have to have a current active federal phase 1 award.
Okay, thank you. That is all the questions I have.
Okay, good. I'd just like to tell everyone thank you for participating. We will be sending the slide deck to everyone that registered for the webinar. Please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any additional questions. And we look forward to working with you. And once the program is back up, both our program and the federal program, we look forward to supporting you and helping to get New Jersey's award numbers up. Thanks again and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.